Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join us in the wild landscape of Scotland, and for today's adventure we're joined by Scotland's #1 DJ, and today we've come into the wild lands of Glen Esk and we're up the hill behind Tarfside, the little village here in this beautiful glen. In the last video you may have seen we documented the Tarfside ROC bunker, and in today's video we're away to head further up this hill. Whoa, a beastie nearly went up my arm there folks. That is crazy, there's so many creatures and beasts flying around today folks. I freaked out. That's what happens though if these things land on you. Yeah, so folks, we're away to head up here basically and document. It looks like what we think is a little abandoned cottage. We could just hardly see it from the last adventure when we looked over the hill. So we're heading on now to have a closer look. You know how it is on this adventure folks, it's spontaneous and we just love going places we've never been, seeing things we've never seen, and just check out this landscape today. Proper summertime heat wave conditions out here. Look at this folks, we can now see the old cottage up ahead. Looks like it's maybe maybe a farm croft originally on its own, or it's maybe just been a little house. On the hill behind us we can actually see the Mall's monument, which has featured on the channel on previous videos. We have been up in these glens doing a few adventures, so it's cool to keep finding new things and places I've never documented before. And this house today is one of those. It's like a fresh abandoned place to have a look of and see if it tells us a story of history in the glen here. Maybe a wee family stayed here, or there was maybe a wee community back in the day around this neck of the woods. And already we've seen remains of what looks like there could have been a couple of buildings there back in the ancient times. Sometimes there's only a faint remains of the walls or whatever in Scotland from an ancient time. If you consider how long ago like the 1400s and stuff was, when these lands were first drained for like agricultural purposes, sometimes those little remains of walls that you can see were actually what the first people here built. And it's crazy to think about that history on the land folks, the amount of days and nights that's passed since even like this wall was put in. So look at this folks, you can see how at one time these walls have been built when this little house was in its prime, and you can actually see the outline of the wee farmhouse garden here. And even this here, it looks like there's been stuff going on in this area at a certain time. This would have been the old track that took you to this house. You can imagine the horse and cart rolling up and down here as the farmer was doing his day's work. Wow, what a scene. I love the character of these old houses, and it's just mad the landscapes that they're set within. This was probably somebody's little house at a certain time. Looks like it's burnt down or whatever I believe, but I'm not sure, because it's actually got new features on it that you wouldn't expect with such an old house. It has been an old house, maybe renovated and upkept into the 1900s from what I'm seeing so far. Yeah, it could have been a couple of houses here. I think it's been an even older site that's been built and maintained. Look at the wee back window. Yeah. And then this must have been the wee farmhouse garden. Maybe these trees were planted back at that time. I just love the character of this.
It's nice in the shade.
Yeah, it's so nice under these trees, folks. On a day like today, it must be about 22 degrees, maybe more. Yeah, it's like this has actually had a wee porch on it at a certain time. Because look, you can still see the groundworks where the door frame and stuff's been. It's full of thistles. Must be the perfect place for thistles, folks. Look at this wee back window. This is a strange building. I think it has suffered from fire though. Look at that wee window there, folks. The character of abandoned Scotland. Like that wee window handle. Yeah, look at this. You can see how it has burnt. Because look at that there. The burnt floor. The last remains of everything. And then look, this fire doesn't actually look too old, to be honest. It's got kind of like a 60s or 70s vibe. It's almost like this house was still lived in, even in like the 90s I believe, from what I'm seeing. But it does have some old features, like underneath You can see there's been wooden walls here, but also the old limestone render that was on a lot of old Scottish houses back in the day. And now looking at this side, there's one of the old fire fronts still sitting here. Look, the kitchen remains in here as well. See that cooker? It's no actually an old cooker. Yeah, that's mad to see that. Not unless gamekeepers or shepherds have been using this place as well at a certain time. It looks like it recently burnt down. Get in the comments if you know more about this house. Yeah, look at this here as well. You see where the fire has been? There's been like a log burning stove in here, I believe.
That's the old one, that's all red brick.
Yeah. You can see where the old meets the new.
Yeah.
It's all kind of merged. It's all been built and probably made into an alright house for a certain time.
Been knocked through for a door into this.
See this wall here though, almost looks non-original. The way they've constructed this wall. Wow, it's a weird smell in here. It's almost like a bathroom smell, which is funny enough. Because you still get that. Like there's still a sink and stuff there. Yeah, look, animals and stuff must live under the floor here. Maybe rabbits or rats. And look, there's the other fire. Oh look, this one's got one of those things that you can fold the pot out and in on the metal bitty. Wow, what a mad scene right here, folks. Another abandoned wonder of Scotland. Look at the wee window. You can see how it's all perished from fire. Often the fire affects these lintels as the oxygen is funneled in through there. And then look at that fire. Sorry, look at that cooker. You can tell how the fire has taken its toll on it. Let's see if I can get a better angle. Look at it, it's like totally burnt and charred. I wonder if that was the cause of the fire. Another thing that sometimes caused fires in these places, it was old wiring from back in the day, often crudely fitted. And then as the years progressed, obviously there was more chance of fires. Sometimes up in these glens, it's like some of the mansion houses and castles where you go to reach the same fate. It can often be they're so far away from like the fire brigade or the fire service to come and put the fires out. That's how like glens like Glen Esk have got their own fire station. Yeah, see, I think this middle wall has been built more recent. There's one of the bricks. Doer it says or whatever on it. I think that's what it says. Wow folks, what a scene of history on the channel once again. Absolutely magical. And what's out the back? Let's have a wee look. Let's check the back garden in this place. Oh, I was thinking there was an entrance going out here, but it must have been some little cupboard kind of bit. Whoa, there's one of those weird hornets that lives in the soil, in the earth. See that hornet sitting there scratching the mud? The unique thing, it's no like the other wasps you get in Scotland where they scratch away at the wood. These ones do it with the mud, and then they actually stick the mud to the wall and live in a little muddy like wasp's nest. And you can see it there, it's fairly scraping away. Whoa, there it is, it's just flowing away folks. See, that's the kind of nature we document. Years ago you hardly got that type of wasp in Scotland, whereas nowadays they seem to be thriving. I see them all over. Wow, what a spot. So look at it from this angle folks, it honestly looks like a postcard. It's like a Scottish postcard house up here on the hill, and it would be such a nice place to live, overlooking all these hills in the distance. They're just for miles around, purple hills, rolling hills of Scotland. And then look, there's been like a little double garage kind of shed. Maybe at one time, if this had been a croft, some of this would have been the farm sheds. It's like loads of scrap and stuff that's come out of the house. And look, there's been a little side kind of corner bit here. I was going to have a wee look around the back, see what we can actually see here. Oh look, there's been a wee garden as well around here. This is so cool folks. Today I can just hear loads of grasshoppers and other creatures. Wow, what a scene. Oh, there's some madness at the back of the house actually. Look at the way those stones have been built at the back of the house. That must have been constructed at a certain time to hold up the wall. Let's have a closer look at this, folks. Wow, yeah, look, these stones have been put in to protect the wall. I just love the character of that window. There's something about it with the moss and the way it just looks so abandoned, and the way it's put up with so many storms, so many days and nights standing out here on the hill. Imagine looking out that window over here. What an incredible view. And it is cool to see the way they've done that. Probably trying to prolong the life of the house. And right now I would be in the back garden. Just think at one time it may have been well kept. It's a proper little heat trap round the back of here. The sun's just shining and beating down today. Look, this is an interesting mound of stones here, folks. Let's have a wee look. Let's see what we can see here in the land. Sometimes these places actually had like a lime kiln if it was a wee croft. Yeah, so look, folks, it has got this super interesting big circle here in the ground. But I'm not sure if it's just the way it is or if it has actually been a lime kiln. It doesn't look like it's been a lime kiln, to be honest. But there is old scrap and bits that's been thrown in here over the years. This has maybe been a little field or whatever if it was a croft. Wow, what a scene, folks. I just love it. I just love wild Scotland and I love exploring it. And I just love exploring places that I've never been. Things like this, they're just hidden away. Hardly seen and hardly documented. And that's what this channel's all about, folks. Whoa, there must be a beehive underneath these stones. Whoa, there's so many bees flying around my head. I'm getting out of here. I think there's a bumblebee hive under those stones, folks. At first I just saw one, and then two, and then three, and I just thought I need to get out of there. Yeah, wow, what a sight this is. That's that little window that we were looking at. Yeah, look at that. It's like a bolt or whatever trapped in. Maybe things growing up this wall at a certain time. Or I'll tell you what, there's actually been maybe a roof on this side, like a little shed. Whoa, a spider. How do these beasts get onto me, folks? You've no idea. In Scotland in the summer, the amount of creatures and beasts fleeing around, you just end up with spiders on you, and wasps, bees, daddy longlegs kicking about. Amazing scenes. And then this is a proper paradise spot. Look at this wee historical detail that I've just noticed, folks. Look at this old pole. It must be the old washing pole. Look how it's got the wooden peg and stuff through it. So you can just imagine them standing here hanging out their washing with that as their view out the front of their garden. Down to the wee village at the bottom of the hill here, and then just look at the scene of this house. It's truly beautiful. And yeah, it looks like these trees have been growing here for many years. Probably back in the day they planted these at the side of their garden, and then they've just grown and grown. In the end, the trees have outlived the house, which is the case in many of these Scottish glens. Look at this here, folks. We've just come a little bit further than the house, and we can see here the clear outline. There's been another building here, and I believe this has been the entrance. Maybe that's been their little farm shed originally. Maybe the carrot shed or whatever back in the day. Wow, this is just magical. I can actually hear a little stream flowing its way down below our feet. See this here, folks? I think they've landscaped the fresh water supply off the hill at a certain time, and I can see there's a big square cut out there, and I'm not sure if they maybe had like a fresh water kind of well, but supplied from here. But you can see the little burn actually leads 90 degrees across and then back down. And I think at one time that would have been intentionally routed like that for the needs of this little place originally. Before they had like running water for taps, that was how they used to get their fresh water. And most farms had that, like a source of water. Sometimes a well or a water pump. Sometimes a fresh spring coming down off the hill. So we just went a little bit further up that road just to make sure there's no abandoned history just over the brow of the hill. And now we're going to leave this place in peace, folks. It's so cool to keep finding these little abandoned nuggets hidden in these lands, and it's so cool to go on a wee adventure to document them. I'm so glad I can share these videos with people all over the world. It's just fun to share this wee corner of Scotland. Hardly seen and hardly documented. Just think when these stones were put in hundreds of years ago, and they're just standing as a scar or skeleton of the history. And even this house here, it looks like maybe 20 years ago it was a fine wee house. It looks like it's been burnt down, unfortunately. Like we have seen with a couple other houses. I think we were at a farm at the other side of the glen which also had been burnt down, which was interesting. Anyway folks, on with this adventure. So on this level piece of land here in front of us, folks, this is where I believe there may have been old buildings or an old construction here back in the day. Sometimes buildings like that are so old, they were actually destroyed back in like the Highland clearances and stuff like that. All that went on in these lands here, and it's mad just to think of that vast history that's gone on. So we just met in with an old friend, folks. Shout out Rory and his mate there that was on their bikes. They've got e-bikes and they were cycling over these hills. Me and the channel DJ has spoken about getting e-bikes as well before for these adventures, and it's just a mad thought to be trundling over here, no having to use much energy riding the bike. If you were on a standard push bike, a lot of these hill roads just take it out of you. But the modern joy of the e-bikes, it makes it simpler, and you can see so much of the world that you normally wouldn't see on foot. So yeah, shout out Rory. Look at this piece of land here, folks. We're now coming down off the wild heather hill, purple at this time of year, and we're making our way into these trees, and this path leads down to Tarfside, the little village which stands within the land of Glen Esk. Check it out, folks. This is the little beautiful village, and yeah, we're just about back to the car. That main road there takes you down the Edsel direction, and then if you follow the main road up this way, you get up to such places as we were a few weeks ago when we went up to Invermark Castle in Loch Lee. All those places are further up this Glen Esk road. This is the main car park here at Tarfside, and it really is just a beautiful little Scottish village. Anyway, we're nearly back to the car. I'm ending this one here. Goodbye from me, goodbye from Scotland's #1 DJ, and we'll catch you soon for the next adventure, wherever we end up going.